you mind reading the land acknowledgement? I'm gonna pass it to you. I'll pass it to you. Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6:33. Please take the roll.
Sure. Donna?
Yeah.
Paul?
We have to do roll. Yes, here.
Huggins? Kelleher here. Mills here. Shay here. Shire here. Wall here. Here. Thank you. All right. Before colonization and settlement by people of European descent, the place we know as Evanston was home to the Potawatomi, Odawa, and Ojibwe tribes, also known as the Council of the Three Fires. It also served as an important crossroads and meeting place for a number of other indigenous tribal nations, including the Ho-Chunk, Illinois, Inaka, Kickapoo, Miami, Menominee, Peoria, and Sac and Fox nations. We acknowledge and honor the original people of this land, as well as the indigenous people that still call this area home, and support their continued work for justice, self-determination, and sovereignty. In doing so, we honor indigenous protocol and remind ourselves and our community that land acknowledgements do not exist in the past tense.
Thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion to allow trustee Dada to participate virtually.
Second. So moved. Seconded.
That.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, is there citizen comment?
There is one, in-person comment, Aquila Bay.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. This thing working? Hello.
The button, maybe not.
There you go. Thanks. Thank you. Hello, everyone. So my name is Aquila, Aquila, last name Bay, Bey. And I have been a part of Evanston, Illinois for 6 years. And I believe that the library is a very important place for everyone in our community. But we are lacking so many things that we need to do that are simple. And then I do take in consideration that our lovely board that is here today are volunteering their time and hard work to try to make sure that positions are established and that our library is clean and a safe place for everyone to come. As I was talking last time I was here, my discussion dealt with how all of the boards are not done in a way which assists our citizens in being able to acknowledge that you provide information for the disadvantaged, the elderly, so forth and so on. We have a big bulletin board out here that has so much space top. And we have these other boards on these floors, which has some information and not duplicated information that is from the third floor. And I believe that someone should take action on making sure that our boards look a little bit competent. Don't look like we're just people just do not care. I don't like when we see hardworking people such as yourselves here today volunteer your time and give hours work diligently, and people come in our library and they wonder why is the information about Alzheimer's all the way on the third floor in the back, as though you are trying to cancel the idea out and you only put it up there because you had to or somebody forced you, but you put it all the way in the back. See, we don't need that. We don't need those types of assumptions when we know that we're trying to help people. So we have to ask ourselves, if I am 25 years old and my grandfather has Alzheimer's, Why wouldn't I see that information on that board? Why do you believe I need to go to the third floor and go all the way to the back, if I go, and see information about Alzheimer's and the help that I can get because of all the worries and the troubles that I go through? People have to understand that if we are saying we are a inclusive people who want to help people by providing information, then we need to do our jobs as people to either assign someone or literally have the opportunity to listen to the customer or the patron or the customer or whatever name we want to give them and give them the opportunity to see the information for what it's really worth. Because even though I don't have a person that has Alzheimer's in my immediate family, I work with staff, family, and friends who do have people who have Alzheimer's, and it can be overwhelming. So if I'm going to tell you as a library member and as a library staff member that I care, but I'm going to put all this pamphlet information all the way on the third floor in the back. There's other information all the way in the back in the rear that deals with senior citizens as well. What happened to this? What is going on that I, as a senior citizen, 70 years old, walking in and looking at this board over here and it's half empty, and yet my nephew's cousin's brother tells me if I go upstairs on the third floor and go all the way to the back, there's information dealing with elderly. Who does that to us? Not the wonderful people here standing before me. Isn't that correct? That is my belief and my understanding. So if people are going to believe what I say, then I'm speaking to let you know that we need to take care of that matter. Because we do care about our senior citizens. We do care about our elderly. We do care about those who are struggling hard to take care of their grandparents and family who have Alzheimer's. Now, the next subject I want to bring up is I saw Cooper today. Anybody didn't see Cooper today? Cooper is a champion show dog. And I usually visit the library at least, once a week. And I'm looking for the board that when I push that elevator button to go to a computer or go to the second floor, or go to the third floor, then I'm looking at that screen and I'm looking for this wealth of information. And yet I heard that even our gentleman here who does the news didn't see the show dogs. Well, this is our news media. Why didn't anybody let him know that the show dogs are here? That they're going to be here for 1 hour between this hour and this hour. We're providing something wonderful. I met not only Cooper, which is a show dog, beautiful ears, wonderful to pet. Let people see if I have anxiety, depression. You're offering something to come to our library, and yet, where is it? And so you may say, well, it's here, babe, it's over here, babe, but it should be on all 3 floors because you're providing something that you thought was a great idea, and yet you're hiding. That doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense to people with mental illness. It doesn't make any sense to anyone who's walking past this library and say, I was just there yesterday. I have no idea the show dog was going to be here. Look at that beautiful show dog. Well, you should have known. What a dog dog. Lord, kid. All that garbage. When here we are standing here saying we love our library so much, but we fail to advertise that we have 6 dogs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dogs outside in front. And not recognizing that some people are so assuming that for all they knew, that they were dogs that were ready to jump on you and hurt you. But if you would have advertised that when I get out of school and I go up to your 3rd floor to go into the little, high school thing, and you would have said, the dogs are coming, then maybe I could have invited my whole family. That would have been 10 more people in this library, 10 more guests here. This is where we need to do better as a community. As board members and as staff, we need to be able to tell those who are here that we are welcoming you. And we're not sneaking little programs in and you end up catching the end of it because these dogs were only here for 1 hour. That gives me enough time to get my grandkids here or my son that has depression. That's what you're saying you brought them here for, but I don't see anything that talks about it. Now, I did get my nice book card, so I'm happy that I did actually get that. And of course, I know you can't see this, and I have read the rules. The president of the board was nice enough to teach me a little bit about how important it is to file early, so it'll be able to be published and everybody can see what I'm talking about. But this is what I wanted to bring to your attention today, is that I thought it was very good that I had the opportunity to come to this library earlier today and not know they were gonna be here. And then I came just because I was asked, are you coming to the meeting today? Oh, yes, I am. Same day. And nobody knew about the dogs. Nobody told me about the dogs, these beautiful little dogs. And then I get here and I have these wonderful dogs and they tell me all this important information about their organization. They have business cards. So now I have to understand, as a public person who goes home, how does that make me feel that these people have printed their business cards? They've come here because they've been asked to. They've been in front of the building. They see people passing by and don't know what's going on. And then when they get in their little huddles, you hear the person's coming the other door over here. Some of them are like, oh my God, these dogs are out here. They're supposed to be out there. Because nobody's aware. Nobody knows. They're too busy giving assumptions, because we, as a library community, need to do better on our advertising about the things in which we are doing for the community, so the community doesn't think we're trying to say, oh, well, we're just bringing it here. Oh, well, if you catch it, you catch it. So that is my discussion today, and I hope that we look into this, because if you're going to offer something that you know is beneficial to our community, it should be flashing on that screen. There should be bulletins right here. There should be bulletins in those corridors, letting us know that these dogs are coming. I think he said once a week, between 5 and 6. And they were, out for a while, 5 or 6, and then they came in, and I have no idea what they're doing on 3rd floor or whatever. But that's the whole thing, is that I was not made aware of this information last Tuesday. And I'm pretty sure if we want to be all sneaky and stuff, we can look at the camera and say, oh, well, he was here Wednesday or Tuesday. Didn't know nothing about it. And then today, when I came here earlier, the staff that I met today did not cue me as this patron, right? Because staff in their meetings should be like, okay, today at 5 o'clock. So if you see our patrons doing this whole 8 hours you're on your shift before you come to the board meeting or before you go home, let them know that we have authorized the therapy dogs, and there will be 5 here today. So then the staff are seeing these little children today, and they're saying, oh yeah, hey, kids suffer from hypertension and whatever. Well, hey, sir, father, nephew, cousin, we're gonna have these therapy dogs today. And some of us would spend the time to say, you know what, my son wants to see these dogs. I think it's a very interesting thing. I'm very thankful to the library for this to happen, but he didn't know. I need everybody to do that for me. I need everybody to understand that we are an important library to people who do and do not acknowledge it to you. We must be proud of the services that we render, and we must be proud enough to stand forward and say we did advertise appropriately enough to where anyone walking in this library that can read, that I'm asking you to come here for the purpose of, yes, we do have children that have ADHD. We have children that have all these different issues going on. Parents, we want you to come and enjoy Cooper. Parents, we want you to come and understand this organization. Parents, we want you to come and see how nice it is for these therapy dogs to be here. Now, I'm not allowed, but I'm gonna do it anyway. How many board members can raise their hand and say they knew about the dogs? I'm not asking nobody to do anything because I know my job is to speak, but I want you to understand that in the event that it was turned around to where somebody bumps into you in the hallway or corners you because you have your nice little tag on, you're a staff member, you want to be informed and you don't want to feel funny telling a patron you knew nothing about it. We want to focus on being able to give information to our patrons when they walk in the door. We have security walking around. They can be comfortable talking to the patrons as well. Hey, yeah, you know, how you doing? You can bring your kids here quite often. I've worked here for 2 years. And as I've worked here, I've seen you come religiously twice a week. Well, you know, we have the therapy dogs coming today. Did you know about that? No, I didn't. Give the opportunity for everyone who enters this building, from day one that you authorize something, to allow staff to be nice enough to advertise it and communicate about it in a nice way. Because you guys work too hard for free. I would say it's free. You work too hard to say this is a good thing to do for our library. This is a good thing to do for our community. This is a good thing to do for the people who are suffering with different children's issues. Families matter. If that's what you're preaching, then therefore, when this happened, that I come here at, I can't even tell you when I was here, I think I was here 1,400 hours, 2 o'clock today. And I met several staff members, shook their hand and everything, and walked the library and met some homeless people, you know, I did my thing. And in that whole period, no one knew anything about dogs. And it just so happened that I come back and you all had a 6 o'clock meeting, and I knew I was supposed to be here for the 6 o'clock meeting, and I wasn't because I'm seeing 5 dogs outside, just wonderful, beautiful dogs. And then it's up to KC, which is a very interesting dog, because this dog has freaking, and I can't say, but he has title CD, you know what that means? BN, you know what that means? FDC, you know what that means? THDX, if you know what that means. CGC, if you know what that means. That means that this dog has been trained and cultivated and has won awards in the very high art. So when children hear that about a dog that looks as beautiful as he does, I mean, his ears are nice and pinched, he's cut very nice and groomed well, he's nice with shag, and he was so nice to us as we walked up. But yet we have people walking along this walk who didn't know about it and said, well, let me go in this other door over here, because I don't know what's going on with all these dogs standing out here in front of the door. So that creates us now as residents and as people who care about this library and who love what you guys do, are saying we have to do better on our advertising. We can't keep on saying, it's on the internet, it's on the internet. There's a lot of people that are my age at 54 that don't touch the internet. They're looking for you to put it up on that board. And I thank you very much for your time.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Before we go,
Oh.
there are a couple of corrections
Are there?
in the minutes.
Okay, please let me know what they are.
In the regular board meeting of May 20th, the amended slate for nominations left off Michelle Mills from president.
Wait, say that again?
So in the minutes,
Yeah,
we had a presentation of slate and then we had an amended slate. The amended slate is reported in the minutes, does not include. It left off Michelle Mills from president. In the May 20th.
it left off?
Yeah, so we presented a slate that included Michelle Mills for president, and then we
It
had
says it.
we had a discussion to amend it, in the restatement of the amended slate, Michelle Mills was not included.
Ah. It's blank. Okay. So that needs to be fixed.
And then. Right, so the amended slate. Should have Michelle, yep, that's perfect.
Okay,
And then in the finance committee meeting of June 11th,
okay,
Michelle's name was misspelled. In the attendance section. Okay, minor correction.
nice catch.
Yeah, the June 11th finance meeting.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the changes identified by trustee Shire?
So moved. Seconded. False.
Yes.
Elmer, yes. Mills. Yes. Shay.
Yes.
Shire. Yes. Wallen.
Yes.
Yay.
I'm sorry, did you say my name?
Yeah,
she did.
She did, we accepted her.
You accepted.
Sorry, Dada.
Yes.
Thank you, sorry.
Okay, let's move on to the director's report.
Hello, thank you very much. The director's report is in your packet. I'm happy to answer any questions. Just a reminder that between now and the next board meeting, there are 2 holidays when the libraries will be closed for the day. So this Friday, June 19th, for Juneteenth, both libraries will be closed. And then for July 4th, the main library will be closed on Saturday, July 4th, and the Robert Brown Branch Library will be closed on both Friday, July 3rd and Saturday, July 4th. Because the Brown Center itself is closed on the 3rd. Just pointing out a couple of other items in the report. There's a description of the kindergarten visits that we did this school year, so I just wanted to point out, this is something that we do every year with kindergarten and then also middle schools visits. So some stats from the kindergarten visits this year: 10 schools participated. We had 433 kindergarten students come to the main library, with 75 adults, either teachers, paraprofessionals, or parent volunteers. And we made a total of 199 new library cards for those kindergartners. Many of them already have their library cards from family visits, but this is something that we think is an important touch point to introduce kids with their classes independently to the library, not just when they come for families. And then I also wanted to point out just a couple of the other upcoming programs. We have a ton of really great programs coming up. I'd like to highlight a few of them. Tomorrow, there's a walk-in legal clinic at the Robert Brown Branch Library. That's something we do in partnership with the Moran Center. It's a really meaningful partnership that we have with the Moran Center, where they bring a slate of expert attorneys to come and help people walk in with a variety of legal questions or concerns. Another one I wanted to point out was next Tuesday on June 23rd. We are having a Spanish language community discussion about digital equity issues. That's in partnership with Cook County. There's a coalition of folks in Cook County looking into digital equity issues, specifically for Spanish speakers. So we're hosting that at the Prieto Community Center next Tuesday. And then also wanted to point out on the last event listed here on Thursday, July 16th, in the main library children's room, they're having their neurodivergent nerd out. So that's a program that intentionally welcomes kids and families who are on the spectrum, and it has structured stations and communication supports, fidgets, and other sort of welcoming environments to make sure that kids who are neurodivergent feel like they're welcome to the library and that they can participate in all the cool stuff that we have here. I also wanted to point out a couple of really nice patron feedbacks that we got, especially one from a handwritten note that was given by a family who's been staying in Evanston for more than a year, and they're on their way back to their home country, and they made a point of coming to the library and delivering a handwritten note thanking the staff for how welcoming they were and how much they appreciated the time that they spent here at the library while they were in Evanston. So a lot of good things going on at the library. So yeah, like I said, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Next is the administrative services report.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
As you have a reading on your package, I'll be discussing about the highlights, then first thing is about the goals, We are expecting to receive the bonds by the end of this month for the capital project. The project has been completed. Only will be like next week. The crane will be here. Just in of the roof. Then I'll also talk about the land. This year, again, we have an issue with the locality. We got the email that they said it's likely to be delayed 2 months. So we are expecting the second quarter payment will be supplied October. So I don't know, like, is it will be October or it will be delayed the way that we did last year. So, but we have a reserve for almost 6 months, it's almost 5 months. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. Now for the facilities report.
Facilities report, thanks to our new facilities manager, Marco Sleepy is here tonight, and the assistant facilities manager, Bruce. As Samir mentioned, the roof project is complete, the work is complete, just if the weather will ever cooperate, they will be able to remove the equipment from the roof. That's what they need the crane for, so, but all the work is done, the roof project is complete. The other item in here is that we recently had our biannual fire system inspection. That happens twice a year, half of the building at one time and the other half the other time. So there was just one stroke device on the second floor identified that that's been replaced. And then I'm happy to answer any questions about the rest of the report.
Are there any questions about the report? I'm sure no one wants to say anything about the roof.
I was
The
gonna say
roof.
congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
Really, really awesome.
No one's gonna say the roof is not leaking. Nobody?
You
Just in time for all this rain, I'm very happy that it got finished in time for all this.
Didn't ruin the boiler as far as we know, so. Right.
No, we have to count our blessings. Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to the monthly development report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As of May, you'll see the development report in your packet. As of May, the donations are at a good pace. We're moving our goals, we're moving towards our goals at least. I will accept the quarter report next month at the July board meeting. Talk more about getting from here to here. In May and June, I've primarily been working on establishing this year's year-end summer campaign, which launched officially yesterday, I believe, and we'll have a special match challenge coming up in July that is going to raise money for the Robert Crown collection specifically. That's an $18,000 match that was been put up by key donors. So that will be the big push for the summer campaign in July. And for the year-end committee, the committee assists with outreach during the year-end campaign and thanking the donors afterwards. We have a new donor and volunteer who is going to chair the committee this year. Her name is Lisa Baker. You may have met her if you were at the trivia event. She was our Leona White of the trivia event. And I invite all board members to join the committee if you're interested. Please reach out and let them know. We are always looking for more members to help us really be ambassadors as we always are. So it's just such an to reach out as part of the campaign. And when there are 3 upcoming events, just want to make sure everybody is aware of. There is a gathering for leadership donors next Thursday, June 25th, from 4 to 6 p.m. in the reading garden at Robert Crown. I believe we have one board member who is joining us. There's something for board member to like. We have the former trustees gathering on July 9th from 6:30 to 7:30 here at the Innovation Station. And we will be hosting a small happy hour at the downtown Summer Sounds on Thursday, July 23rd, at 5:30. So just please make sure those are on your calendars. And finally, I'd like to personally thank our outgoing board members for their support of the library and beyond.
Sorry, Travis, thank you. Before we move on, this isn't a question. I just wanted to plus one what you said about the events. If you are interested in participating in those events, would you please update your participation in the board calendar? So it'd be great if there could be somebody on the 25th of June. My brain was just like 25th of June, the 9th, and because I believe there's only one trustee on the 25th and the 9th, and then the 26th. So please make sure if you're available that you update your availability in the calendar. You rock. Thank you.
So do all of you.
All right. Wow, we're really rocking, kids. So now's time for me to give my last presidential comments. Buckle up, kids. It's gonna be a little long. It's been 6 years, so I have a lot to say. As I prepare to offer my final presidential comments, I find myself thinking about something that someone once said to me from this dais. They called me an irrational optimist. And at the time, I'm pretty sure it was not intended as a compliment, but the longer I sit with it, the more I think that maybe it's true. Maybe I am an irrational optimist because I believe in institutions, even when institutions disappoint us. I believe in community, even when community is complex. And I believe in public service, even when it comes at a personal cost. And I believe in Evanston Public Library, not because I think it's perfect, but because I know how much it matters. Years ago, somebody told me that the library was not a place where we could build institutional legacy. They said racism would prevent that. And I understood why they said it. I understood the history underneath it, the exhaustion underneath it. But I also knew I couldn't accept it because if public institutions cannot become places where legacy is built, where trust is repaired, where power is shared, and where people see themselves reflected and respected, then what are we doing here? I choose to live and work in my hometown because I believe in community. My friend Corinne used to say, I go where my money goes. So as a taxpayer, a resident, a parent, a trustee, a family whose legacy is rooted deeply in this place, I've always felt the responsibility to show up and advocate. And that's not always been comfortable. There have been times when I was told not to be in the paper. I understood the desire for quiet, and I understood the instinct to avoid public tension. But I also learned something important. Public attention can open a door for people who have felt invisible. Media coverage did not create issues facing this library, but it did help some residents understand that their voices mattered. It helped people engage with the library who may not otherwise have believed there was room for them in the conversation, and that matters. Public institutions should not be afraid of public engagement. We should be accountable to it. And over the past several years, this board has faced difficult questions about governance, labor, trust, independence, facilities, finance, leadership, and the relationship between the library and the city. And some of those conversations were painful, some were necessary, and some could have been handled better. That includes challenges related to labor relations. This is not the moment to relitigate every decision or every disagreement, but I do believe it is important to say that a labor conflict is never just a personnel issue or a communications issue. It is a trust issue. It is a culture issue. It is a governance issue. And like any team, we have different roles to play. Staff are not trustees, trustees are not staff, and that is by design. And when any of us do not understand or act appropriately within our roles, the result is confusion, frustration, and harm. I hope the library continues to be a culture where staff voice, management responsibility, and board oversight and public accountability are not treated as competing interests, but as balanced parts of a healthy institution. I also hope the city takes seriously its responsibility to prepare people for public service. Boards, commissions, and committees are not ornamental. They're part of the democratic infrastructure of this community. And too often, people are appointed and expected to figure it out on their own. That is not fair for the people who serve. It is not fair to the staff. It is not fair to the public. If we want to serve people well, we have to train them well. We have to onboard them well. We have to help them understand governance, public meeting requirements, ethics, budgets, labor relations, equity, and the difference between oversight and operations. Good intentions are not enough. Public service requires participation. And I've learned that this leadership is not about ego, it's about stewardship. It's about asking, what does the institution need now? Who is being served well? Who is being left out? What are we protecting? What are we building for the people who will come after us? And I've also learned that loving a community means being willing to tell the truth about it. Evanston is brilliant and beautiful. It is also layered with politics, race, class, history, ego, and unfinished promises. I love this community deeply, but I'm not so sentimental that I can't see where we fall short. I love Evanston enough to expect better from it and from us. So yes, maybe I am an irrational optimist, because I still believe that the Evanston Public Library can be one of the places where we become who we say we want to be. A place where access becomes belonging, where governance becomes stewardship, and where a place that public trust is not assumed but earned. A place where all of us understand that we are responsible for protecting the public good. And as I leave this role, I do so with gratitude. Gratitude for the staff and volunteers who do daily work of serving this community. Gratitude for my colleagues on the dais who have given their time, care, and labor. Gratitude for the patrons who showed up, spoke up, asked questions, challenged us, encouraged us, and reminded us that the library belongs to our whole community. Evanston is our home, and our library is a public trust. Today, I will leave this seat, but I will not leave this work. Thank you. So, let me cry. No crying. Finance. Oh, yes.
May I request a permission?
Yes.
Point of personal privilege. Point of personal privilege.
Hey, point of personal privilege, nice.
Yes, okay, I need a prop.
That is so nice. Oh, no. Thank you.
And then I have, because I'm garbage and memorizing things, I have to go back to my notes.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
So Tracy, President.
Don't make me cry.
Tonight, as we acknowledge the conclusion of your term as board president, I'd like to take a brief moment to express my personal gratitude for your exceptional service to the Evanston Public Library and the entire Evanston community. Your dedicated service has set a powerful example for what it means to lead with a passion for civic life. In your library board service and in so many other ways, you nurture and exemplify the values and practices that make Evanston the community that it is. Thank you for your relentless advocacy, your guidance, your willingness to be in the paper, and your profound commitment to ensuring that our library remains a cornerstone of inclusion and innovation for all of Evanston. You make a difference at the library and in this community. And we are deeply grateful for your irrational optimism, for not only showing up, but for showing out. So please accept our appreciation for your leadership.
Thank you. That is really, really kind.
And also the flowers are the colors of the library logo,
Yeah.
and they're from all
Thank you so much. I was so worried that I was gonna cry as I was reading, and I was so proud of myself because I'm like, see, I made it through the whole thing and I didn't cry at all. But I really, this has been an incredible experience. To see like governance in action, and like it's not. And this is not like political theater. Like I think some people enter positions like this kind of service, like so that they can like, I don't know, run for something else or like, but I just think that this is so important. And I think people here have really showed a kind of dedication and commitment that our community deserves. We don't always act like it, but we do deserve it. So thank you for this. It's really, really beautiful. And the fact that it's bigger than my torso is kind of. So, thank you. All right. Oh, no.
I'm not as formalized, but I have been on this journey with you for 5 of your 6 years.
Yes.
And so I just wanted to express that you are an insightful leader, and I am grateful and impressed by your leadership. You are a fierce cheerleader for the library and for staff. And you also challenge us. You know that we don't always agree. But you
We actively vote differently.
right? But I appreciate the challenge. I appreciate being held accountable. And I think that I can speak for the rest of us by saying that we really, losing you is going to be a significant loss.
Thank you. Please don't. I don't think I can take it. I'm not really this savvy. I don't know, it's like old age or something, but thank you for saying that. You've been a fantastic colleague, and I think it's so crazy that I'm the oldest. Like, it just doesn't seem like, it's not my identity. It's like, well, right, the longest serving, thank you. But it's just fascinating, and we've done such incredible work. Like, I think we shouldn't undersell the kind of transformative change that we have put into this institution that will be a challenge to undo. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I did it with you all. Thanks. Please let us vote. Okay. Finance committee.
Who wants to hear me complain about Cook County as a segue?
Yeah.
Right.
That's the kind of thing I want to hear.
All right, Finance Committee update. As you heard Samir say, the roof work is done and we're expecting the bonds to be issued at the end of the month. As a reminder, we have no action as this board. We approved this as part of the year's budget when we took budget action last fall. Cook County revenue update. Also, as we heard Samir mention, as of June 2026, EPL has not received approximately $600,000 of what we thought we were getting from the 2025 property tax levy. Well, it's the 2024 property tax levy from Cook County, but what we were expected to receive in 2025 and continued to receive in 2026 due to the delays. We do not have a reconciliation or an explanation from the county. This does not appear to be an EPL specific issue. Many Illinois libraries are in the same position, and there is no systemic reconciliation process between the county and the affected libraries at this time. School districts and so on are also impacted, it sounds like. Cook County also appears to be running behind on collections again this year, which will likely cause delays in disbursements to the library again this year as well. Heather and Samir have confirmed that EPL may be eligible for a bridge loan through the city, which serves as our fiscal intermediary for this type of borrowing, since we're not directly eligible for borrowing ourselves. Current understanding is that we would need to exhaust our full operational fund balance before qualifying. They're actively exploring the exact terms and thresholds for that program. Staff will also work with the city well in advance to assess our realistic capital pathways and options so that we can stay on top of our accounts payable, including payroll, in the event that county collections again fall short of what we are owed for the second part of this year. Collective bargaining and the calendar year 27 levy. So the current AFSCME collective bargaining agreement is a 3-year agreement. Its timeline and the calendar year 27 budget cycle are not perfectly aligned. The new agreement may not be finalized before the board begins settling the 27 budget in September. This is a meaningful planning constraint that we need to have on our radar for this fall. Staff compensation and benefits constitute approximately 75% of EPL's operating budget. This is 7.1 million of our $9.8 million operating expenditures for last fiscal year. Any wage and benefit increases in the new agreement will need to be reflected in the levy request commensurately. The board should expect that the 27 levy will need to be calibrated to the compensation and benefit commitments of whatever agreement is reached. We'll need to ask the operations staff to provide scenario projections as the September budget process approaches. The IGA lease status update. Our council continues to work with the city's corporation council toward an agreement in principle, as we've talked about in the past, for the IGA and lease. The board articulated its positions on how it hoped to move forward in 3 written communications to the city council and mayor, one in September 2025, one in October 2025, and one in November 2025. The next phase of this work involves determining the appropriate mechanisms for productive engagement with city council on matters of shared jurisdiction, while ensuring each body operates within its proper legal lane. The work continues to be ongoing on this, and we'll see what's next. The last thing I wanted to address is development. For the middle of the year here, development is in a strong position, as you heard Jennifer talk about in the development report. We're on track with the strategic development and advancement plan that was approved by the board last May. I'm pleased to report that the progress is solid as we head into the second half of this year. Jennifer Shreve has continued to execute the plan, which has been an excellent investment. Thank you to Jennifer and Heather for the ongoing development work. You heard Jennifer say that next month she'll cover expectations for the second half of the year. I hope everyone noted in the development report the number of ongoing new donors to the library, which is above where we are our goal for this year. And so very excited about that. Thank you, Jennifer and Heather. That's it.
Ask a question, and I don't know if you're
And
the,
I'll include this for the minutes too.
thank you. I don't know if you're the perfect person to ask, or if this is a Heather Samir combo.
Sure.
But the question about the being able to borrow. So if we have to spend our entire fund balance, that means that we would be out of alignment with our existing bylaws. So how would that work? Like, how would we be able to? I don't know my question. Like, our bylaws say we need 6 months.
I think that's something that Heather and Samir need to investigate and propose to the board well in advance about what the capital pathways are and what our options are. And if it means the board would need to take action on something in advance, and that's what would have to happen. Where the board can't take action based on certain pathways available.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds really dangerous, given that last time, if we didn't have such a stringent policy, we would not have been able to make payroll. And so to require us to spend all the money that made sure that when the county didn't pay us last time, we were able to stay solvent is kind of worrisome. Heather, are you hearing from other libraries that, like, yeah,
Everybody's in kind of the same boat
mm,
or has the same concerns.
yeah. Okay, thank you. Yikes. Management committee, trustee Dada.
Hello, everyone. We kind of talked a little bit about what I was going to talk about, which was just making sure that we update the calendar with participation for the events that we're going to do. We talked about it already. I do want to take a point of personal privilege and say a little something to our outgoing president during this report. I just want to say that as you conclude your service as board president, I just want to express my heartfelt gratitude for your leadership, mentorship, and your sisterhood. This board experience has been especially meaningful to me because it was my first opportunity to serve on the board of trustee, and you were the one who brought me into this work. Long before we worked together on this board table, we worked together in other places, and throughout the years, I have watched you lead with strength, with wisdom, with grace, and an unwielding commitment to service. So I wanted to thank you for opening doors, for sharing your knowledge, and for showing me that servant leadership looks like in action. Your guidance has helped shape not only my experience here on the board, but also growth as a leader. You will leave an incredible legacy through your service at our library, through our community, and through all those who are fortunate to know and learn from you. I'm grateful for this opportunity to serve alongside you as vice president. And I really thank you for leading the way and for always reaching back to bring others forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sister Soror, fellow trustee. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Fellow trustee, thank you.
Facilities. Who's facilities? Katie. Right.
And I do have a number.
How about the roof? The roof is not leaking.
There we go.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
right? Okay, trustee Wallen, DEIB.
Yes, so the DEIB committee successfully achieved a forum and we held a productive meeting after several months of not, as you know, of not being able to meet quorum. In that meeting, we took the opportunity to discuss strategies to improve participation, attendance, and the committee continuing to move forward. We discussed possible term structures for committee members. We discussed attendance expectations and the impact of attendance achieving quorum. And we discussed the need to have a structure in place to recruit and onboard committee members. So the committee plans to continue refining these recommendations, and so we will hear from the committee in the future about any updates.
Thank you. Congratulations on getting it on. Communications.
Communications committee was canceled in June because we lacked an actionable agenda, but we look forward to having a full body meeting on July 7th.
Sounds great. Thank you. Ad hoc search committee.
The ad hoc search committee did not meet because we had our special board meeting to work on the RFP, which happened, and then we will discuss a little bit about it.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to old business, the election of officers, discussion and action. So, we've done this in my time two ways. One, where we just vote for the entire slate, and another where we vote for each position individually. Given that there are only two, the benefit of doing a by roll is that I think it makes it easier to take nominations from the floor. So that would be my preference, but I feel like I'm open to doing it either way, where one, we just vote for the whole slate as it is, or where we go position by position. I'm interested in your feedback. Any thoughts?
Position by position makes sense.
Position by position?
An opportunity for nominations.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll start with the role of president. Are there any nominations from the floor? Okay, so that position will remain vacant.
No,
The,
wait, Michelle Mills was previously nominated.
oh,
Yeah, she's
right, because I forgot it's not on the thingamabob.
Yeah.
Sorry, Michelle. You are present. I see you with my eyes. Okay, so that position is Michelle Mills. So first, please indicate by raising your hand.
I think the order of the nominating process was to go in reverse from there. I thought we were starting with treasurer, secretary, vice president, president. That was what the way the process
We
was rolled out.
President is last.
Oh, great. I'm with it. So that would be treasurer Victoria Shire. Are there any additional nominations from the floor? Seeing none, please raise your hand in the affirmative to vote aye for Victoria Shire.
You do this when you have a voting member
Aye.
virtually.
Oh, right.
She said aye.
You have to do it by voice vote.
Okay.
My last day, I'm losing it. Just cracking up. All the crying and the flowers and stuff. Makes me not myself. Okay, so we need to do voice.
What'd you say?
Voice voting, please.
Jada,
Aye.
False.
Aye.
Huggins, Kelleher, aye. Mills,
Yes, aye.
Shay,
Aye.
Shire.
Aye.
Wallace. Aye.
No nays. Victoria Shire, congratulations. Hooray. Secretary, are there any nominations from the floor? Seeing none. As an aside, like this is a point of personal privilege, is it's not that big of a deal that there isn't a person in that role right now. Because there will be at least 3 new trustees that will be here in July. And I think it's wholly appropriate, given that as the volume, to choose from the people that are there. Like, that seems totally reasonable. So don't freak out that there's no, body in that role. It's not a big deal. All right, so secretary, there is no one. Vice president, Aripo Dada, are there any nominations from the floor? Seeing none, roll call vote for Vice President Aripo.
Let's go back. Wallace. Aye. Shire.
Aye.
Shay.
Aye.
Mills.
Aye.
Kelleher. Aye. Huggins. False.
Aye.
Dada.
Yeah.
What was your vote?
Did you say aye? Oh, okay, so she said no.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, and so now we are at president where Michelle Mills' name should be. Michelle,
I would like to withdraw.
okay, your withdrawal means that there is no current person in that slated position. Are there any nominations from the floor? Seeing none, that position will remain vacant. So the current executive board will be, for next year, will be, or July, I mean, it is next year, will be Aripo Dada as vice president. President and secretary are open, and Victoria Shire as treasurer. Congratulations. Hooray. All right, back to my list. We're kind of cracking through this. Right and all. Strategic plan update.
Yes, thank you. And in your packet, there's a memo on the strategic plan progress. I was asked to prepare this given the current state of transition. And so, as you know, the strategic plan was adopted in 2025. It uses the priorities using the BELONG acronym, building inclusive spaces, empowering community engagement, lifelong learning for all, optimizing resources responsibly, and nurturing relationships and partnerships and growing together sustainably. In addition, there is a strategic work plan that was created that identifies and enumerates the actions needed to fulfill that plan. So you had an update on this. I don't remember the exact time of when the last quarterly update was, but I've taken that strategic work plan and included it here to identify those items that were already complete in 2025, and then those that are in progress or that have been paused. Primarily, the ones that are paused are those identified as reliant on a new permanent executive director being hired and or the intergovernmental agreement negotiations being finalized. Those are primarily around items related to the facilities, the building, this building itself mostly. So space assessments, the facility sustainability plan, renovate, anything related to renovation or reorganization of physical spaces has been identified as being currently on pause. But those that are in progress are, as has been mentioned, anything related to development and fundraising items in alignment with the strategic development advancement plan. And then items related to programming and ongoing services here that are in progress, that are on track. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you have.
Are there any questions? I have a comment. I think it's really extraordinary what you have been able to achieve, given some of the unrest, like, it really is a very important message as we're looking for a permanent executive director, that the strategic plan is moving forward and we are actually continuing to achieve that. If I were looking for a job and I saw this, I would be very heartened by that. So, well done.
Thank you. And I share that with all of the staff and the leadership team at the library.
Yeah, it's true. This is when I wish my fingers had like confetti or like Inspector Gadget made that whizzing noise. It's really ideal. Okay, so I'm gonna do something pretty interesting. We'll see how it goes. Because the lease agreement was in the packet, is there any discussion needed around the approval of the lease?
We discussed it briefly in the finance meeting, so I don't have any further discussion with it.
Yeah. Is there a motion to approve the renewal of the National Able lease agreement?
So moved.
Seconded.
Sorry. who's
Ballin
this?
and
Mills.
Mills.
Okay. All right, let's vote. Dada?
Yes.
False.
Yes.
Yes. Kelleher, yes. Mills?
Yes.
Shay?
Yes.
Shire?
Yes.
Wallet?
Yes.
Woo-hoo. Excellent. The same is true for the staff computer replacement and additional technology purchases. Is there,
Yeah. Sam.
yes,
So moved to approve.
thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, let's do this again. Wallet?
Yes.
Shire?
Yes.
Shay?
Yes.
Mills?
Yes.
Kelleher, yes. Huggins? False?
Yes.
Dada?
Yes.
Thank you. Excellent. Now this one is gonna require some chat. So, Michelle, will you take us through the review of the RFP?
Yeah, happy to do so. So, I want to, before we discuss next steps, I want to start with what the scorecards showed, in the analysis. So one trustee, did not record their name or the, company being scored, and so those were discarded, but 6 other named trustee reviewers had clean scoring summaries. The pattern was clear on the gate items. So again, for a refresher, we had gate items that you had to pass to continue to have your score or to have your proposal reviewed. For both proposals, 0 out of 6 reviewers checked the gate items for public library, ED/CEO executive search experience. For both proposals, only 1 out of 6 reviewers checked the gate item for providing 3 ED/CEO level public library case examples. So on the final gate outcome, 1 of the firms had 0 pass votes. On the other one, 3 reviewers marked fail and 3 marked unsure. So they had, in that second firm, had 1 pass vote total, but neither had enough to pass the gates. In other words, 1 had 0, 1 had 1 vote to pass. So clarifying is the real gate issue here. The issue isn't whether the firms are capable search firms, or whether they have the relevant adjacent experience. Both appear to have strengths. When we did our special board meeting, Tracy definitely raised this, that what this landscape of the market would look like. I don't think we had a clear picture of how limited it was when we applied this gate experience limitation. So the issue is whether these firms met the step 1 pass fail gate in the RFP. The RFP was pretty clear to say that the firms had to demonstrate public library executive search experience, provide a clear fee structure, provide 3 case examples, and the proposal content section further frames the relevant experience of successful public library ED/CEO level searches. The scorecards show broad agreement that the fee gate was generally met. The concern is the public library ED/CEO experience gate and the 3 public library ED/CEO gate case examples gates, correct? So not passed. There's also the collective bargaining case example. The RFP gives priority for a case example involving a staff environment represented by a collective bargaining agreement. I do not think that should be treated as a hard gate failure by itself. It's better to understood as a scoring preference. That's how we stated it. So the core gate issue is not the CBA example. The core issue is whether the proposals demonstrated public library ED/CEO search experience and the 3 public library ED/CEO level case examples are there. So if we apply the RFP gate as written, the scorecard record supports the conclusion that neither proposal passed. Step 1. If we decide we want to accept library adjacent public sector, civic, or mission-driven executive search experience as sufficient, that may be a reasonable policy choice going forward, but that's broader than the criteria that we published in this RFP. The cleaner path is not to change the gate after reviewing proposals, okay? We want to make sure that we're clean and then not challenged. I'm recommending to the board that we do not advance either proposal under the current RFP as written. Instead, we should acknowledge that the responses show the gate may have been too narrow for the market, and we should revise and reissue or reopen with clearer criteria. A revised RFP could move public library ED/CEO experience from a hard gate to a weighted preference, like we did with the CBA experience. For example, the gate could require 3 relevant executive search case examples, while the scoring could give the highest points to the firm with direct public library ED/CEO placements and additional credit for CBA public sector experience. Okay. So I think the decision for us is, do we apply the gate as written, in which case neither proposal advances, or do we want to revise the criteria and reopen the process so all potential offers are competing under the same standard? It may also bring in additional offers. My recommended next step is to apply the gate as written, decline to award under this round, and bring forward a revised RFP scoring tool that reflects a broader experience profile we may actually be willing to consider. And is there a discussion?
My only question is about turnaround time, like how long? Cause it would be changing the way that the RFP is written, but very little. But it's really changing the rubric, that's the work. And how long, given that you did write the rubric?
Yeah, I would rewrite that easily. I think if we just issue another 2 weeks, we get it back on the street. Today's Wednesday. I think if we wanted to do this, publish it Monday, do it 2 more weeks. I mean, you get into the holidays, but do it. Yeah, I would say don't run it in July 3rd, maybe leave it open till July 10th. But and then you maybe can score it and with the next meeting. That's whatever you think.
So the art would be open till July 10th, or
I'm just throwing that out as an idea. I wouldn't close it on July 3rd, but you could.
we close it on July 2nd?
Yep.
So it would go up on the 22nd. Is that actually doable? Like,
Well, the
if-
library's closed on Friday. So
right, so
Coming in more time.
you need more time than yeah. All the crying, it's maybe foggy. How quickly, once you receive the new RFP and the rubric, would you be able to post it?
They don't need the rubric. The board.
Oh, right, they don't, that's true, they don't. need the new
But
RFP.
there will be new board members getting sworn in who haven't even been here yet.
Right.
So I think the question is, do you want to wait till they've had a board meeting and I don't know.
My instinct would be to give them a packet of like, here's everything you need to know, so that your first meeting is a voting meeting, like. You gotta get in there. Now, did I just earlier say we need to be more helpful with onboarding? Yes. But I think we could also write a good packet between now and the end of the month to get people.
Yeah.
Up to speed, or as up to speed as they could be.
I mean, changing the RFP, making these updates, if this is a very small update to change, and changing the scoring rubric are very small changes. I think
Yeah,
have this to library staff very quickly. And I think it's how quick can this go up on the web.
yeah.
Defer to Ellen, maybe someone actually.
I mean, here, I think it could just fire on some discussion, I think how to be one to promote that. RFP again, from your, and see how we work there, but I guess all the time. Here,
I mean, as a courtesy, we need to send it out to the offers. To have them resubmit,
Yeah,
When you say, give the new members a package, you mean proceed with the July 15th meeting is when that's a meeting of which we hope to make a decision.
yes,
So just to back that out, scoring would need to be by the July 12th.
oh. But they wouldn't be sworn in until the meeting,
So they won't be able to.
so they won't be able to. They'd have to score in the meeting.
well, they're voting then for the recommendation of the people who scored.
That's true.
They won't have scored.
That's right. They won't have scored, but they can vote for the record, for what was recommended.
So those who review the scoring is due the 12th. So couldn't be due any later than the responses couldn't be due any later than the 9th and 10th to give scorers time to score.
Right. Like Michelle, I would not recommend ending it early. I would want to give at least a couple of weeks. Because there probably are people that would have participated, but didn't because they knew they didn't pass the gate. So if,
So if we're not approving, selecting on July, whatever I just said, 15th, the board meeting, you either schedule a special board meeting.
no, like, so let's say it goes up on the 24th. And it would be up for the first, 1 week would be the first. 2 weeks would be the 8th. Score, then you could be generous and go to the 10th. Score, you don't need a meeting to score,
No.
so,
You can use the management meeting before the meeting on the 15th.
Yeah.
Talk about anything we talked about.
Yeah.
Make a recommendation to the board.
that's right.
Yeah, that's okay with the repo.
Does that feel good?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Sorry, I'm listening.
That's right. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to adjust both the RFP and the rubric. And to follow the dates of opening as soon as possible, to close on the 10th of July. And to score between the 10th and the 13th.
So post when, I'm sorry,
so they can analyze it.
Sure,
14th is reasonable.
That's still good.
is somebody gonna make a motion?
Were you trying to restate that? When did you say post?
My motion was, I didn't make a motion. I said I'm gonna
Entertain one.
to reopen the RFP with the changes in the gate that you discussed. To open it as soon as possible. And leave it open through the 10th
Got it. Yeah, okay.
to allow for scoring between the 11th and the 14th.
Do you want to update the RFP? Since you have, I think, the word copy. Or do you know how to do that? Do you know?
I think
Maybe it's passed through.
The most updated one.
Yeah, then you send it to us.
Mhm.
You updated to remember that criteria.
I can.
Okay, and then I'll.
So will somebody take my motion?
So moved. Seconded.
Thank you.
Okay, Dada,
Aye.
Yes.
okay, Keller, yes. Mills,
Yes.
Shay,
Yes.
Fire,
Yes.
Wallet.
Yes.
So.
Excellent, thank you. All right, what's next? Board transitions. So as I was thinking about moving on, I realized that there were a number of, like, so last month I celebrated all the achievements that we had over my time on the board. But this was my list of things that I felt we needed to kind of keep our eye on. I think one of the things that I found, pardon me, most disheartening about some of the discussions that we've had over the last year or so was maybe people really not fully understanding like what were the actual issues, like being distracted by the word that comes to mind is theater and not actually like practical, like to the point of like Cook County not paying. And then for us to take out a loan, the only way that we would be able to do that would be through the city, which, and it would require us to use all of our money, which would mean we wouldn't be able to make payroll. Like, I mean, it's really kind of a mess. And so I wanted to spend some time briefly making sure that everybody understood, articulated the issues that as I saw them, and I'm sure that there may be more. And I hope that if there are things that I missed, that you will raise them now so that the next board will be able to, you know, feel like they can take off running. So I'm just gonna go through one by one, and if anyone has any additional comments, and then I'll do a quick round robin of everybody. Sound good? All right, the IGA. I feel like Michelle is really great at I didn't warn you, but I think you're really great at articulating why the IGA is so important. Can you spend just a few minutes talking about why the IGA is critical?
I have prepared a set of comments.
Oh, wonderful.
That touch on this. and
Okay.
I'm wondering if I could deliver those first and then do this part.
Please.
Okay. I made the difficult decision to pull my application to extend my term on the board if my term ends this month. I want to use this moment, my last as a trustee, to say something honest and I hope useful. If you've heard me talk about this library, you've heard me carry on about third places, not work, not school, not home, but the third places where people can meet each other and connect or just meet. My family is here and at Crown constantly. I've been here with my family 3 times today and at Crown once. My kids have, and somebody else did the drop off at Crown today too. So that's 5 times. My kids have grown up in the children's and now teen spaces. We love the innovation station. My spouse volunteers in the repair cafe and I'm in the meeting rooms more than I like. What strikes me every time that we're here alongside people from different ages, different backgrounds, different reasons for being here is that we have opportunities to connect and meet someone new. Something real happens in those shared spaces. And in a time when genuine connection across differences is increasingly rare, this library is one of those places where Evanston actually lives its values. This is why the future of the library matters so much to me and why the work has felt so urgent. This library is not optional infrastructure. It's a cornerstone. There is no serious vision for Evanston's future, no honest commitment to literacy, belonging, equity, value, or equity, belonging, or civic life, and certainly not one for a thriving downtown that does not involve a renovated, well-resourced, independently governed public library. I still believe that. I leave believing it more than when I arrived. What I want to be honest about tonight is the gap between that vision and the conditions we've been working in. This board, well before and since my arrival, has done serious work. We hired a highly competent executive director and held her to transparent written performance standards, which set an organizational precedent for accountability that I am proud of. We approved a strategic plan that was a real roadmap, not a brochure. We built a development function from the ground up, and I'm genuinely proud of what Jennifer Shreve has executed, including the recent confirmation of a transformational $1 million gift that reflects serious donor confidence in this institution's mission. We have also worked hard to advance a capital strategy for our aging facilities, a complex undertaking given that EPL does not own the building it occupies, which makes every conversation about renovation and investment require a level of city partnership that has proven extraordinarily difficult to secure. It has been a professional privilege to serve on this board with these trustees and under Tracy as president. However, we as trustees are not doing this work in a vacuum. We are doing it while navigating a city relationship that has been at best unresolved and at worst actively hostile to this library's governance and independence. We worked for years on a lease and intergovernmental agreement that would have clarified and strengthened that relationship. Despite my meetings with the mayor, city council members, with attorneys, despite an enormous amount of work, we are not able to get it over the finish line. This is one of my deepest frustrations in leaving. My parting words in this unfinished work to the board, to the public, to the city council, and city staff are, please remember this is one city. We, the taxpayers, pay taxes, whether it goes to the city or the library, and we have a responsibility to work together to resolve these matters. The building is not the city council's building. It is owned by the people of Evanston, as are all of the library assets. We have to stop thinking of these false divisions and start thinking about what the vision is and how we achieve it. We have a publicly articulated library vision and it's in the strategic plan. The attempt by members of the city council to dissolve the library's independent status entirely and fold EPL back into the city as a department would have been a legally and institutionally untenable move. One that we were fully prepared to challenge, and I am glad this has so far not moved forward. But the fact that this was seriously contemplated tells you something important about the environment this board has been operating in. Protecting this library's legal status as an independent component unit in this structural foundation on which everything else rests. We need leaders who understand why this is important and why the features of our arrangement protect free speech and independent libraries. I want to say something else about trust because our board president, Tracy, spoke about it last month and it has stayed with me. Trust in leadership is not a soft concept. It is the operating condition that makes everything else in governance possible. When the surrounding institutional environment makes it nearly impossible to set a vision and actually pursue it, when competent management is treated as provocation, when the people trying to do the work are worn down rather than supported, you lose the leaders who care most. Evanston has a pattern of this. We build something, we find someone to lead it, and then we make the conditions so difficult that the vision dissolves before it can take root. That is not unique to this library, but as a trustee, this is where I have been directly accountable, and I'm not willing to leave without naming it. This is not a criticism of the library staff who show up every day and do extraordinary work. This is a challenge to our partner institutions. The city council, and all the stakeholders who say they value what EPL does, to ask honestly whether they are creating the conditions for this institution to really thrive. I am not leaving because I have given up on EPL. I'm leaving because the work I came here to do requires institutional conditions that do not currently exist, and because I believe this board needs people positioned to do the work and in the environment that it actually is, while continuing to push for the one that the community, I'm going to continue to push for the one the community deserves. To the incoming board, the strategic plan is real. The development trajectory is real. The case for major capital investment in this building is documented and compelling. The donors are here. The $1 million gift is proof of that. What the institution needs from its governance volunteers right now is steadiness, patience, and an unflinching commitment to EPL's legal independence. Do not give that away. To the staff and this community, the library is worth fighting for. Keep showing up. I will see you on the other side of this podium, now with functional microphone, where I will be back to ask for accountability from city council and this board for bringing Evanston to the library we deserve.
Preach.
Okay, so does that address enough of the IGA and the lease?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so should I go line by line or item by item, or do we just prefer to, if you have comments, that you would just make them? What do you think?
I'd like to make some comments.
Please.
I believe in the power of reading, in equity, and in the idea that our public institutions reflect the health of our whole community. It's with a complicated mix of emotions that I'm announcing my resignation as an Evanston Public Library trustee, effective end of day Friday, 6/19. I'm cutting my term short because I believe it's the right thing to do. This decision comes after many hours spent trying to find real solutions to the challenges within this role. I can no longer, in good conscience, continue volunteering my time in a structure where partnership with city government is essential to this institution's success, but where I've come to believe that relationship is fundamentally misaligned with my own values. Over my 3 years on this board, I have witnessed a consistent disregard for the vision and advocacy of this board. And what I've seen leads me to believe that skilled, deeply competent Black women leaders in this community have, time and again, been pushed into impossible positions with little to no support. That conclusion is frankly stomach churning to sit with. How a community manages and cares for its public library and the leaders within it says a great deal about the community's overall health. And what I've observed here leads me to believe this system, as it currently functions, is not well. There are people with power in this city who use the language of equity and anti-racism, while in my experience, behaving in ways that contradict it. I hope that by stepping down, I can encourage community members to start asking harder questions. Why do so many Black women leaders in Evanston end up leaving their roles, getting silenced, or feeling like leaving is their only option for their own well-being? Why are we fighting over a beloved public institution in a city that prides itself on being progressive? And why has a board that has tried in good faith to get clarity and accountability from the city around fiscal responsibility and basic building maintenance been met with so much resistance if we're all here to serve the public? It has been an honor to serve alongside so many of you on this board. The ones who lead with integrity and without ego, who are willing to question how things have always been done, who are disciplined in keeping our own biases in check, who build solutions for the future, and who consistently center and fight for our most marginalized community members. Tracy, you and your family are a true gift to this community. Thank you for your steadfast leadership and dedication to this institution, despite the terrible treatment you have endured. I am grateful for your patience, generosity, and all you have taught me, this board, and this community. It has been an absolute pleasure to work under your leadership.
Like snot ball. Like snot ball's not acceptable on the dais. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Wallen, do you have comments?
I have a comment.
Okay.
It is with deep sadness that I submit my resignation from the Evanston Public Library Board of Trustees effective June 30th. This decision has not come easily. After careful reflection, I have concluded that I can no longer support the direction being taken regarding the governance and independence of the library. Over the past 5 years, I've had the privilege of serving this community as a trustee in numerous capacities, including vice president, secretary, co-chair, the executive search, co-chair of the executive search committee, member of the Racial Equity Task Force, and chair of the board's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and Belonging Subcommittee. These roles represent only a portion of my commitment to serving the library and the residents of Evanston. It has been an honor to advocate for equitable access, sound governance, and a strong public library that serves all members of our community. However, within the past few years, I have become increasingly troubled by efforts to undermine the purpose and independence of the library board. These efforts have included proposals to return the library to departmental status within the city, persistent challenges to the board's governance, authority, and responsibilities, criticism of the board's review of operational agreements with the city, and discussions regarding the appointment of a sitting city council member to the library board. Taken together, these actions erode the independence that is fundamental to effective public library governance. Library trustees are entrusted with exercising independent judgment in the best interest of the library and its patrons. They are responsible for providing oversight, accountability, and stewardship free from political influence. When that independence is questioned or diminished, the library's ability to fulfill its mission is placed at risk. The board's review of operational agreements with the city was neither unprecedented nor extraordinary. Similar reviews have occurred periodically for more than a decade and reflect responsible governance practices. Seeking clarity regarding roles, responsibilities, accountability, and service expectations through an intergovernmental agreement is not an act of hostility, it is an act of stewardship. Likewise, the appointment of a sitting city council member to the library board, regardless of who the individual involved, would establish a concerning precedent. Such an appointment would blur the distinction between two separate governing bodies and compromise the independence that public library governance is intended to protect. Effective partnership between the city and the library requires mutual respect for each entity's distinct legal responsibilities, not the consolidation of authority. Most troubling has been the public narrative that has developed around the board and its leadership. I've watched as the motives, judgment, and leadership of trustees have been questioned in ways that too often ignored facts, discounted legal responsibilities, and contributed to misinformation. It is also important to acknowledge that Black women currently comprise more than 1/3 of the library's board's leadership. While public officials and board members should expect accountability and constructive criticism, I am deeply concerned by what appears to be a disproportionate scrutiny directed toward that leadership, whether intentional or not. The persistent questioning of the judgment, motives, and governance of a board that includes Black women in key leadership roles raises concerns about equity, representation, and whose leadership is afforded the presumption of good faith. Public institutions are strengthened when diverse leaders are encouraged to serve, not when they are subjected to heightened skepticism or diminished credibility. As a Black woman serving in public leadership, I cannot ignore the reality that scrutiny and criticism are not always applied equally. The treatment and targeting of Black women leaders in civic spaces have consequences not only for those currently serving, but also for those who may consider public service in the future. I remain proud of the work accomplished during my tenure, and I remain deeply grateful to the staff, volunteers, and fellow trustees who care so deeply about the library and its future. My resignation should not be interpreted as a loss of faith in the institution itself. I continue to believe that the Evanston Public Library is one of our community's most trusted and valuable public institutions. However, I can no longer subject myself to, nor remain silent in, the face of efforts to discredit and diminish the work of dedicated trustees and library leaders. Public service requires accountability and healthy debate, but it also requires respect for facts, good governance, and the people who step forward to serve. I hope future leaders will choose collaboration over conflict, transparency over misinformation, and respect for independent governance over efforts to weaken it. The library and its patrons deserve nothing less. Thank you for the opportunity to serve.
That was incredibly courageous. This has been fascinating. I don't think it's wise to go through each of the items. I think trustee Shire, trustee Dada, and trustee Kelleher, if you have comments that you'd like to make around these topics I think that would be appropriate, but I don't think it would be helpful to go through each one line by line. So I'll start with you, trustee Shire, because you're right across from me.
I need a minute or two to gather my thoughts. You want to start with someone else?
Yes. Trustee Kelleher, are you ready?
No, I'm not ready, but I'm not going to be ready, so I'm fine to pass.
Okay. Trustee Dada, do you have any specific comments that you want to make around the items that are listed in our packet or any other info?
I do not at this time.
Thank you.
Tracy, I do have a memo from the finance side of things that I'll be intending to submit to the incoming treasurer and copying the operations staff and for transition groups. So we're gonna send that
Yes.
forward, but it sounds like that we,
Yeah. I think it'd be really helpful to make sure that it's in the minutes.
Yeah.
Like, so that we can use the minutes in order to
for transition.
prepare the next.
It addresses a variety of the ongoing legal issues like the ERT and so on. So she's like, she's going through all my notes. Yeah, kind of like. But that might be part of what you want to get in the records.
Yeah.
But I have,
long list of things.
Thank you.
Financing goal.
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
I want to appreciate all the comments that were made and the difficult decisions that those comments convey. I would ask that trustees submit their comments for public record. I think it's very important that we not lose sight, this movement, and what has mattered. And the importance. And so that the continued board and new board members can keep these extremely important directives from our community, because you are both members of the board and members of the community, that we keep these directives in mind and not forget the consequences of distraction, drama, and loss of focus on what is most important. And I repeat my appreciation that I extended to Tracy, to you, Megan, to you, Esther, and to you, Michelle. That's really, you guys have brought incredible leadership and commitment. And I'm so glad to hear all of you said that you are not stepping away from your commitment to the library and the importance of the library in the community, because your leadership and your voice continues to be important.
Thank you. Okay, so the next step will be that everyone will send any memos, comments to Heather so that they can be included in the minutes of this meeting, so that future trustees will at least have, at the very least, those documents. Is there anything else that I'm missing, or are we ready to move on to our next topic? Okay. So. Yeah, it's a second. Pursuant to 5 Illinois compiled statutes 120/2A, I move that the Evanston Public Library Board convene into executive session to discuss an agenda item regarding personnel. This agenda item is a permitted subject to be considered in executive session and among enumerated exceptions under the Open Meetings Act. These exceptions are C1 and C2 and are set forth as follows. A public body may hold closed meetings to consider the following subjects: the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity, or collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees. Yes, thank you. Yes, your roll call for that.
Okay. Donna? Donna? Boss?
Yes.
Okay, Kelleher, yes. Mills?
Yes.
Shay?
Yes.
Shire?
Yes.
Wallen?
Yes.
Donna?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,